Hello, welcome back to Morrison Heights Family Connect. It's the weekly podcast of Morrison Heights. I missed you guys last week. It was a holiday week, and our main man, Tom Rowden, was out of town in Iowa. So thanks, Tom. We didn't get to put out an episode last week. We can't do much without him. Thank you for joining us this week, and we have a guest, the guy that knows what's going on here at Morrison Heights, our pastor, Dr. Greg Belser. Thanks for being with us today.
Glad to be here. Thank you, Tim.
How are you and Susan doing?
Fabulous.
You've been able to avoid getting the Ronas?
So far.
Good.
We like to keep it that way.
Good. You were able to make it to the funeral yesterday for the woman that used to work in your church in Montgomery. Glad to hear that. Hope you had a good trip there. What else is going on with you guys?
Well, several in the church probably know that Susan and I were tested for COVID-19. We actually had an interesting experience, or at least interesting to us because it was our experience. But we went to the Trust Care over on Lake Harbor Drive in Ridgeland Monday, and signed in at 12:30, and they called us back at 4:30 p.m. So I went out and sat in my car for 4 hours, answered email and talked on the phone. Susan and I did. Tried not to get bored with each other, as you would expect, sitting in the car for 4 hours with nothing to do. It looked like half of Madison County was over there. The reason we went there is because they had the rapid test. So they swabbed us somewhere between 4:30 and 5.
It's still in the nose?
Yeah, it's still in the nose. It's what I will tell you, the rumor was that they would try to somehow touch the back of your skull with the swab. That proved to be false. It really wasn't hardly more than a tickle.
Good. That's the only person I've heard say that.
The girl that did it bragged on it. She said, "I'm told that I don't hurt anybody." And I said, "Okay, let's keep it up." But the good news is we were tested, and within an hour, they called us and said we were negative.
That's fast.
So that permitted us to then go Tuesday this week to Alabama and do a funeral. Good. Well, we stayed masked. In Montgomery, Alabama, where we went, there is a mask requirement for citywide for public gatherings. So we stayed masked. And,
are we going to get that in Clinton? I've been wondering if that's coming down the pike.
Well, I don't know. I haven't heard from anybody official. Obviously, with Jackson and now Hinds County suggesting that masks are necessary, I'm sure it's being discussed. Whether it's going to happen or not, I'll stay away from that. But I will say that as a church, we had a meeting this morning, and we are looking into the probability of having a mask-required service, mask-only service, probably starting on Sunday the 19th. The reason for that is because we know there are people who are very anxious about the virus. There are many who are not. Let's be clear on that.
I've noticed that.
Yeah, they're out there. And there are many who are, and the ones who are don't feel safe, and we want them to feel safe. We love our brothers. We're not judging anyone whether they do or they don't.
Good.
Wear a mask. That's not our agenda. So we've got the facilities. The problem is finding the time within our existing schedule to make that happen. We're actually having a meeting today to dialogue some more about those particulars. But for the church family, you can look forward to the probability even, that by July the 19th we would have a mask-only service. So if you want a service where everyone is masked and everyone stays masked, then we think we can provide that service.
Good. Of course, the speaker, if you're preaching, you're not going to have a mask.
Right. No one anywhere suggests that somebody who's 20 feet away, 25 feet away from whoever's there is is endangering anyone. So the speaker, in fact, that's the way, parenthetically, the way we did the funeral yesterday. We were in a church. The speaker wore a mask, sat on the front row, but took the mask off to go up to the platform to speak. So our service would be done the same way.
Okay.
We'd like to think that could happen. The challenge is obviously on the musicians and on the pastor. And the pastor has already said that's not going to be an issue.
And on Eric.
Well, yeah, the biggest challenge will be the sound people. There's a lot of technology that goes on right now. We have a lot of technological moving parts. I say that for the benefit of the church. If you're in our room, you hear one mix of the sound. There's a certain way you tune sound for a room. But if you watch it on television or the internet, there's another mix. So for the layman out there who doesn't pay attention to such things, that requires two different people, two different sets of ears, and all the same technology in two different rooms, driving all of that. So we have to have two soundboards and so forth. So it's an endeavor that we haven't tried to tackle in the past for financial reasons. But we've been able to do so during the pandemic out of necessity.
Yeah, no choice. No.
We were really forced to do something that we had heretofore decided we couldn't. But the end of that has been, the response has just been fabulous. Funny thing, I got a text this morning from a friend in the first church I pastored some 35 years ago. And he thanked me for the little devotional I do on Facebook on Wednesdays. He's following that. And he said, little did I know 35 years ago when I first met you that you would become a TV preacher. And I want to assure everyone out there that I have no ambition to be a TV preacher. I happen to be a pastor who is now on TV.
That's good. So just to recap the speculation, because that's all it is right now, speculation about possibly adding an additional service that would be masks required. Could be in the theater, could try to put it between the services, but it's all up in the air right now. No plans to change our 9 and 11. Now my own speculation says if 100 people try to leave the 11 o'clock service and go to the mask required service, then we do have to change something if that happens.
Yeah, if you will, the equilibrium we have now all of a sudden shifts a certain way because of a different option, then we would evaluate.
Sure. Okay, well, good. I'm glad to give folks an update on that, and the 19th is the earliest we'll plan to offer.
Yeah, we need a few days to promote. Folks will be seeing this, I think, on Friday. So that's too quick for Sunday. We'll have to probably need another Sunday.
Okay. Good. So other things going on in the church right now. We started child care for birth through age 3 during our worship services this past Sunday. Had 3 in the first service and 12 in the second service, right? I think that's it.
I think the number I heard in the second service was 16.
16, okay. So running about 10% of our normal Sunday morning preschoolers, which is understandable. It's I guess, to be expected right now. But we do have that available during our morning worship services, not during our 5 p.m. right now.
Well, the 5 p.m. is discontinued.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Serve starts Sunday.
Serve starts Sunday, yes.
That's right. So if your life group is not signed up for Serve yet, you got to get on it. Get in touch with Alicia in the missions office, or come join my life group if your life group's not signed up yet, because we got lots of work to do Sunday.
Yes, it's an exciting thing what Serve has permitted us to do. It's a little different this year because of the pandemic, but we're not meeting at the church to go out. We're not congregating back at the church when we're completed. There will be some supplies provided by the church, but many of the life groups will be providing their own supplies. But we're really focusing on trying to help people in need. And so there are some legitimate, real, valuable tasks that we want to try to tackle. Virtually all of them, in fact, I think all of them are outdoors. So it's not the kind of thing where you would get in a room with folks that you might be a little suspect about. And if you're outdoors, obviously, You can wear or not wear a mask and keep your social distance a lot easier. And so it's really, it's as safe an environment as it possibly can be and still do ministry. So we hope our people will embrace the opportunity for 3 Sundays, the 12th, 19th, and 26th of July.
Okay. Everybody will want to know, has anybody on the staff tested positive? We have, several have gotten tests, but everybody's gotten negative results. We don't have anybody positive.
That's right.
I got tested just to be careful, just because it seemed like the cool thing to do nowadays. So I let them do the nose thing on me, and that was not fun. It was not as bad as some people's experience, but it was worse than your experience. So yeah, all negative tests as far as the staff goes. So we are trying to take this seriously and be cautious and be reasonable and just eager to open up as much as is safe and as much as is wise and reasonable right now. So
yeah, we don't want anybody to somehow feel challenged. You know, church is supposed to be a safe place spiritually, safe place emotionally. Nobody wants to come to church and be offended or insulted, and so that was true 6 months ago, and it's true today. We're not going to do that. Just absolutely will not do that. So we want to try to work with our new parameters and encourage people to come, because we really do believe church is a safe place. Let me reiterate that. We put a lot of energy into hygiene. We put a lot of energy into keeping our social distance. If you're comfortable getting out of your house to do anything else, I would tell you there's reason to be comfortable to get out of your house to come to church, because we're not putting people in environments where they're not going to be uncomfortable. They can keep their distance. Some folks are very comfortable, and you can spot them. You can spot them, and you can spot the folks that are maybe uncomfortable, and it's just obvious. And so as a result, if a man's got his hands in his pockets, well, guess what? That's the new code for I'm not shaking hands, I'm not even touching you, and that's fine. It's fine. Well, I for one am ready to get back to touching people again. I long for that personally, but I understand how it's you can't push that farther than what we are currently doing. So we'll see how it all turns out. But I hope they'll come back, Tim, and try to put their toe in the water, if you will.
Yeah, and if you're wondering what it's like, if you haven't been here and you think, I don't know, I don't want everybody coming up to me and trying to hug me and stuff. As far as I can remember, in the 4 or 5 weeks we've had church, I can only remember one person coming up to me and asking if they could give me a hug. And they asked. So, at least as far as I'm concerned, and I'm talking to a lot of people every Sunday, nobody's coming up and getting in my space in a way that I think would make somebody uncomfortable.
Right.
And I do wipe down about 500 chairs a Sunday, and we got about 10 other people that do the same thing. After every service, we wipe down all the chairs. Even if they didn't have anybody sitting in them, we get Clorox wipes and wipe down all the chairs. And you all want to know, where do you get all those Clorox wipes? I have secrets. You can't reveal your sources.
That's right. Don't tell anybody.
No, I'm going to get emails after this.
They'll look like the Trust Care parking lot.
That's right. But if you have extras, we're going to run out soon. So send me your Clorox wipes so we can keep wiping down
we need some wipes.
All right. I guess that's a good update as far as what's going on in the church and everything. I just want to thank everybody for being patient, positive, optimistic. Like, none of us are optimistic all the time right now because it's a strange time. But when we get together, when I see church people and talk to you on the phone or on the internet, it's just encouraging. And so I hope you can provide that encouragement for everybody. You certainly have provided it for me, and I'm thankful for that. Somebody Sunday asked me, Sunday afternoon, he said, you owe Dr. Greg now, because he was looking for you at the end of the service Sunday, and you were in the Next Steps corner. He couldn't find you whenever you were supposed to come up. I said, oh, no. He just called me. I got to fill in for him tonight preaching. He owes me now. So that conversation happened Sunday afternoon. But that's fun, because nobody expects it to be any good if you get asked hour before and then preach.
That's right.
The
You got it
expectations
out.
are very low.
Look, I just got called. It's an emergency. This is the best I can do.
That's right. No, it was a good afternoon. And glad you don't have the virus.
Yes, sir.
We should remind folks to pray for people in our church. Buddy Calhoun, still struggling. He's in the hospital.
He is hoping to go home by the end of the week. So by the time this broadcast airs, it is our hope Buddy is home.
Good. And praying for Carl May in the hospital. Many of you know Carl. Margaret Woodruff still dealing with her. She broke both her ankles, right?
She did.
Bless her. And we have not mentioned on the podcast Brett Witten, but Brett lost his grandmother Saturday. Grace Witten was her name. So praying for that family. You want to share a devotion with us?
Well, I just want to read little 3 verses, if I might, of Psalm 27. These are helpful to me. I trust they'll be helpful to others. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When evildoers assail me to eat up my flesh, my adversaries and foes, it is they who stumble and fall. Though an army encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war arise against me, yet I will be confident. I always reflect on that last word, confident. You know, as a human being, we all sort of gravitate to people who show confidence. And as a leader of others, I want to show confidence. There's if you will, a fine line between confidence and arrogance, or even confidence and foolishness. But David says in Psalm 27, he's confident, and he's clear there that he's confident because the Lord is for him. So his confidence is not self-confidence, but rather God-confidence. And so I would remind the listeners again that our hope is not in us. Frankly, we know we're not that smart, and they know we're not that smart. So we're not confident in us because of something resident within us. We're confident because God is wise and has promised to not only shepherd our lives with an invisible hand, but also to shepherd our lives with righteous people, godly people who will come alongside us and be a resource. So I'm comforted by Psalm 27, and I would commend it to the listeners. Well, hey, let me pray, Tim. Yeah. God, thank you for our church, and thank you for the opportunity to think together about your work here. We love Morrison Heights. We love our people. We love our community. I pray today for the success of the gospel. In strange days, I pray for the success of the gospel. What our nation needs, what our state needs, and what our county and community need is exactly the same, and that is Jesus Christ, Lord of Lords, King of Kings. So give us grace, Father. Help us to be who you want us to be and to do what you want us to do for the one to whom all is owed. We owe Jesus so much. We pray, Father, you would help us to live a worthy life of his mercies to us. Thank you for this opportunity to think again about you. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dr. Greg, for coming on the podcast.
Yes, sir.
Parting shots, you know, predict whether or not we're going to be able to watch college football this fall?
I am predicting that. I did see a note today that a guy, a pastor friend, said he's completely worried about high school football. And I wonder about high school. I think there's a greater challenge for high school, perhaps, than college. Not sure why I think that, but I do. I'm not saying either one of them won't happen. I really think both of them will. I think there's enough, if you will, societal energy to make it happen. But hey, they canceled the NBA. They canceled everything in spring. So I don't know. If the numbers don't change, or if the narrative in the national media doesn't change, I don't know. I'm hopeful, but I'm getting more and more pessimistic.
Yeah. That's a great way to end the podcast.
There you go. Be confident in God, pessimistic in everything else.
Thanks for joining us on Morrison Heights Family Connect. We're here every week just to keep you encouraged.
Yes, indeed. It's a great ministry.
We like it if you like and share and all that stuff, and we like it if you share your photos and videos. MHBC Together is our hashtag. Hope to see you back next week. Bless you. I forgot the tagline. Tom's looking at me like, say it. Sorry. This is Morrison Heights Family Connect. We love our family.